Welcome to today's InsideSales.com webinar, The Sales Revolution, How Data plus Science are Fueling Next-Gen Sales Growth. Today's presenter will be Mike Plant, our Chief Marketing Officer at InsideSales.com. Today we'll be doing a customer spotlight while we're waiting for people to get logged on. Today's spotlight is Ceridian. Ceridian is a great customer of ours. They do cloud-based HCM technology, which is payroll, benefits, workforce management, human resources, and talent management. And they have customers like Pier 1 Imports, Aeropostale, the YMCA. We're excited to present today a quick little video, and then we'll be right back with you to introduce Mike Plant.
My name is Larry Donovan. I work for Ceridian Corporation, and I'm the company's Chief Revenue Officer. As we were thinking about how we would get the best value out of our investment of HD forecasting, we were really focused on some fundamental challenges we were having in our forecasting process. You know, the right kind of user experience on an operational basis, weekly, monthly, quarterly, that we could get visibility to the pipeline, and what was changing, which was always more difficult to do with the solutions we had in place. I think the biggest change since we adopted the platform is visibility. You know, now we have this very rich long-term historical inventory about our pipeline, and then the ability to just kind of navigate through that, you know, with a lot of flexibility. The power of that historical data and what we're going to be able to do with it going forward is what really got me excited. When you have a first-line sales leader who's all day long working on a set of transactions with 5, 6, 8, 10 reps, it's very difficult for them to think in the abstract. And what HD forecasting is doing for us is it's allowing us to draw that conclusion and present it to them proactively versus asking them to do some of that analytical work. Because at the end of the day, it's not a great use of their time, but if I can deliver the analytical insight, I can teach them how to make better decisions. We're starting to see some of the value as the data is being collected and the data science is starting to kick in around the trustworthiness of the predictive model. But I think equally importantly, I can go in now at a very high level, which I need to do on at least a weekly basis, sometimes daily, and I can monitor what's happened in the pipeline at a super detailed level. With a click of a mouse, I can see exactly what happened. If I was going to say one specific thing about the HD forecasting product, I would really say it's just this great inventory of the granular data we need to be more agile.
Quick plug today for our podcast, The Sales Acceleration Show. Jump on in and visit Gabe Larson and Steve Ayer as they solve today's toughest sales problems at InsideSales.com/podcast. Okay, this webinar is going to last just about 45 minutes. You can always join the conversation using the hashtag InsideSalesWebinar. And then in about an hour and a half after we start, this webinar will be available on demand. Now I'm excited to introduce Mike Plant, the CMO at InsideSales.com. Prior to InsideSales.com, Mike Plant worked at Citrix and Symantec. He also is a connoisseur of fine foods, so if you ever get a chance to dine with Mike, you should take that opportunity. Without any further ado, I turn the time over to Mike Plant.
Thanks for that introduction. For those of you who may not be familiar with Inside Sales, we're the world leader in providing science-driven solutions to help sales teams sell more. As a result, we talk to chief revenue officers, chief sales officers, and other sales leaders every day. And from the conversations we're hearing, a lot of discussions and even some questions and confusions about the impact of big data and science on sales, both now and in the future. In today's webinar, our goal is to demystify some of these conversations that are happening in the industry and help you figure out how AI and science should figure into your 2017 sales plan. Any quick glance at today's business news and business technology headlines will show you a bunch of different industry buzzwords, from artificial intelligence to neural networks to predictive analytics to machine learning, deep learning, and a slew of brand names from Einstein and Cortana and Watson to many others. It can be pretty confusing for someone that doesn't have a data science background to make sense of everything that's going on. The thing that matters the most in these conversations is understanding how in your particular sales organization the application of science, whether it's artificial intelligence or machine learning or neural nets, how any of that can help you and your sales organization sell more. In our conversations with sales executives, we see this sales revolution as transforming how modern sales are done. Part of this transformation stems from our personal lives. In our personal lives, we're immersed with artificial intelligence and other advanced science technologies, whether it's our temperature-controlled room when we wake up, to our artificially intelligence-influenced run when we go work out, to using AI to figure out the right route to work based on current traffic conditions, what we listen to in the car on the way to work, or anything else during our consumer lives. We encounter artificial intelligence to help us have richer, more relevant experiences. Unfortunately, there's a bit of a gap in the artificial intelligence experience that we have each day while we're in the office. We experience AI in our consumer lives, but less in our professional lives. It's revolutionizing our personal lives, and we think that there's an impending revolution in the workplace. In addition, AI is actually creating winners and losers in the consumer space. One classic example was the battle between Netflix and Blockbuster. For those of you who may not be familiar with Blockbuster, they used to be the place we rented and got our videos several years ago. And there was a showdown between Netflix using streaming video services and Blockbuster. And some folks view the battle as having boiled down to Blockbuster was brick and mortar and Netflix was streaming and didn't have the expense of the retail community. However, AI played a significant role as well. Netflix used all of the data it had about us as users and what we preferred to watch and what we were watching to help us enhance our viewing experiences and our viewing choices through AI. Blockbuster didn't do that. And if you fast forward to today, Blockbuster is basically out of business, and Netflix is really how many of us, most of us, make entertainment selections. What does it take to be a category winner? How do you apply artificial intelligence to your business so that you can be a winner? There are actually three elements to a winning AI solution. You need a stack of mathematics. Whether this is software or a set of data scientists, you need an ability to use algorithms like machine learning or neural networks or deep learning to make predictions about what's going to happen. That mathematic layer runs on top of a set of data, and it actually crunches the data to come up with the projections for the future. And then winning AI solutions also have an application layer that serve up these predictions, these recommendations, and these prescriptions. Let's take a brief, non-technical look at each of these three layers to understand what component makes the most difference as you're looking at AI solutions for your sales organization. Surprisingly, even though a lot of today's news and business headlines are about the mathematics, whether it's machine learning or predictive analytics or deep learning, or this company has 200 data scientists and this company has 2,000 data scientists, it turns out that a winning AI-powered solution for sales is not as much about the math as you might think. The foundations of AI, things like neural nets, predictive analytics, and even machine learning, have been around surprisingly since the late 1950s. For example, Arthur Samuel, a scientist at IBM, used neural nets to program software that could win checkers games way back in 1959. Similarly, scientists at Stanford about the same time were using AI mathematical methods, again in this case it was neural networks, to predict and eliminate jitter and echo and other noise from our telephone calls, again way back in 1959. So while having good mathematics is table stakes, because the math is largely 50 and 60 years old, it's relatively commoditized. Microsoft has Azure ML, Google has Google Cloud ML, IBM has Watson Analytics, Salesforce has Einstein, Inside Sales has Neuralytics. There's even a open source artificial intelligence stack that you can run if you don't have your own set of data scientists. So while the math is important and it is table stakes, it's not where the differentiation, where winning AI-powered solutions come from. Data, on the other hand, is actually critically important to the predictive power of AI solutions. To predict the future outcomes for sales teams, whether they're prospecting or they're working opportunities, you have to have both the right scale or the right quantity of data, and you have to have the right relevant data. For example, if you have truckloads of data about commercial sprinkler systems and you're trying to forecast sales data, that sprinkler system data probably isn't very relevant and predictive to what's going to happen in your sales. It is big data, but it is the wrong kind of big data. What we have found in helping companies apply science to the sales motion is that the right data results in better, more accurate predictions and therefore more revenue growth. It's really hard for B2B companies to generate data on their own at sufficient scale. This is one of the reasons why consumer companies are kind of ahead in leveraging AI. They just have more customers and more data. For example, Amazon, way back in 2005, already had 84 million unique customers. Not transactions, but customers. That's the kind of data scale that you want to think about when you're looking at AI solutions in the B2B space, or in this case, AI solutions for sales. Inside Sales is unique in that we have HD data. Think of this as Amazon-scale data for the enterprise. We achieve this large data set of highly relevant data for sales organizations by cross-company aggregating anonymized data from all of the companies and all of the users that use our platform. We then consolidate that anonymized data into company and buyer persona profiles. These are anonymous representations of the types of companies and the types of buyers that your sales teams sell to. Underneath each of these profiles, we have data on over 100 billion discrete sales interactions. This massive scale sales data, the right kind of data at the right scale, is what produces the predictive power of a winning AI solution like Inside Sales offers sales teams. It's important to remember that it's not just the scale of the data, but the type or relevance, the quality of the data that we have. If you think about it, there are 4 general types of data that might be used to power artificial intelligence solutions. One example would be mandatory self-declared data. You go to the Driver's License Bureau to get your driver's license. They ask you your name, your date of birth, a few other pieces of information before they will give you your driver's license. It's mandatory. Each of us provide that data, and it's the challenge with mandatory self-declared data is that it's not updated very often. How often do we each go and fill out a driver's license form or even file our taxes? And it's self-declared, but it's not very comprehensive. So it's not very timely and not very comprehensive. Another example of big data is data that's collected through brute force. This is where, say, a database provider like Hoover's might actually do telephone surveys into companies to get information about their organizational structure, their finances, etc. Brute force data is a little more accurate, and it can be refreshed a little bit more frequently, but it's still relatively infrequent. Think something that's updated 6 to 12, maybe 18 months between updates. And it's whatever we can, brute force data is whatever we will willingly give to the data collector, the data service that's interviewing us or trying to get that data out of us. A third type of data that's a little more frequent and a little bit more accurate is voluntary self-declared data. A way to think about this is the data that we share about ourselves on social media. We may update our Facebook page or our LinkedIn profile or Twitter with some frequency, but it's not 100% perfect, transparent version or view into ourselves. For example, nobody that got fired for stealing a stapler is going to put that on their LinkedIn profile. I mean, that's a silly example, but the idea is to underscore how there are gaps in voluntary self-declared data. That's why we believe the data set that is most predictive and most powerful in helping sales organizations use AI to improve their sales outcomes is data that is passively crowdsourced. This is the data collection approach that we use. We observe what sales reps do each day in the CRM using our apps, and we anonymize and record snippets of data from what is actually done. That's why it's passive. We're not asking the rep to provide anything or the company to provide anything. We just observe it. And we're doing this many, many thousands of times an hour across our entire platform. This passive crowdsourced data, it doesn't have human influence or subjectivity into what data is provided. It is very, very fresh, and it is very, very accurate. And that's what produces improved, increased predictive power from an AI solution. Here's an anonymized example of the increased predictive accuracy that our HD data provides. In a recent bake-off for an enterprise sales prospect, we went head-to-head against multiple other competitors. The additional accuracy of our model, driven by the increased relevance and scale of our data set, produced a much more accurate model of, a predictive model of how their business was going to perform. When scaling this more accurate predictive model across their entire sales organization, we modeled that in this specific example, we could deliver as much as an additional $50 million of revenue lift per year for that company. This is just to underscore the fact that the right scale and quality of data and the right quantity and relevance of data in an AI-powered solution is what matters. It's about the data more than the math. And we recommend to our prospects and customers as they're evaluating how artificial intelligence and science-driven solutions can help their business that they think about the underlying data as being the core driver for both accuracy and therefore revenue lift. Now, even if you have access to the right big data and you have access to a good mathematic layer, artificial intelligence, predictive analytics, neural nets, etc., if all you do is put a score in a field in the CRM for your sales reps, you're probably not going to get much revenue impact. I think you guys that have experimented with lead scoring tools in the past may have seen this. What ends up happening? There's a value in a field, a numeric value, and the reps typically do a few different things. They either say, you know what, I don't understand how that number got there, so I'm going to ignore it. Or they decide, I know better than the algorithm does, so I'm going to do what I think I should do. Or, over time, they just forget to consider that field as they're working throughout their day because they have to, it's an extra energy, an extra lift to go find that field and process whatever number is in there. To maximize revenue impact from artificial intelligence in the sales organization, you have to have a way to operationalize the predictions and the recommendations that come out from the AI engine. In other words, how do you embed these predictions and these recommendations in the sales rep's workflow? We believe that in order to do that, you also need the right application as part of your AI-powered sales acceleration solution, the apps that change actual sales rep behavior. Now, we've studied this in a number of companies. If all you do is put a score in a field, you typically see revenue impact that looks a little bit like what you see on the screen today. The gray shaded area represents, in this specific example, a distribution among lead prospects of probability to close. And the green bars represent where the sales team are spending their effort. And so even though there may be a solution that is putting a probability to close score in a field in your CRM, rep behavior isn't changing. They're still peanut buttering their effort across every prospect record, and you're not seeing any revenue lift. We call this no-lift AI. This is what happens when sales reps don't trust the score or don't see the score or are too lazy or don't have a process or the skills to leverage the scores or the outcomes of your predictive or your AI solution in their workflow every single day, every hour, even every minute. However, when there's an app layer sitting on top of the CRM that's embedding these predictions and recommendations from your AI engine into their workflow and modifying where they focus their time and what they prioritize from tasks and what lists they work on, and is making real-time recommendations that change their behavior, the sales rep's efforts can become more aligned with the best quality prospects or leads or opportunities, and you can start to see a lift, a net lift in revenue as the application layer aligns the rep effort with the predictions coming out of the science or AI platform. Typically, this alignment around what is the next best action that a rep should take can actually free up cycles and capacity on the sales organization, and this increased capacity, when appropriately distributed by the app to the remaining prospects, leads, and opportunities, can even further maximize the revenue impact from the app layer that's running in your CRM on top of your AI-powered solution. To gain this insight that it's about the math, but it's more about the data and more about the apps, and to build our app layer, we've actually analyzed and mapped over 3,000 sales processes from different companies around the world. Our consulting and implementation teams in each of these engagements deconstruct and map out the sales processes. This consulting effort helps us understand when, where, and how to present prescriptive recommendations and predictive insights to the reps embedded in their everyday workflow so that we can maximize sales impact. Our research team also regularly engages to understand what's happening with the reps out on the sales floor. Most recently, our research has turned to understanding what's happening in terms of usage, both of the CRM and of applications like our applications. We noticed about 18 months ago a change in the usage and adoption patterns for our software, and we wanted to figure out what was going on. We sent a team of product managers out on the road. We traveled over 500,000 miles visiting and interviewing 125 sales reps across 10 different types of sales roles at companies in North America and in Europe. We recorded over 1,000 hours of interview and video time and then brought all that information home to try to understand what was happening right now on the sales floor. We are experiencing, I think you guys would all understand, a generational shift in what's happening on the sales floor. The younger generation, you might call them the millennials, at least that's a label that some of the press have given that generation, are starting to have an impact across our entire workforce, but it seems to be especially pronounced on the sales floor. In fact, we reached a tipping point in the past year where across North America, millennials are the most represented generation on the sales floor for most companies. We triangulated what we see from studying these employees with what research firms like Forrester have identified, and the studies align nicely. These millennial workers grew up as digital natives and want to use technology in the workplace. Indeed, they grew up with artificial intelligence and science and predictions and recommendations in their personal lives from a very young age, and are keenly looking to experience that in the workforce as well. In fact, in a recent study that Salesforce conducted, 61% of today's sales reps believe that artificial intelligence and other science-powered solutions will play a material role in helping them hit their numbers in the coming years. In addition, we found that these millennial workers tend to be more collaborative and more entrepreneurial, and they prefer to manage their work instead of having it directed to them by their managers. And in addition, they grew up as digital natives with a very nonlinear workflow. They will visit as many as 20 or 30 websites to research a particular prospect or opportunity to improve the likelihood of converting that opportunity or prospect in their pipeline. In fact, we asked a couple of the sales reps that we were interviewing, what would be the number one thing that your manager could get you to help you be more productive and effective? And they indicated a third computer monitor. We saw instances where these reps had as many as 50 or 60 or even 70 browser tabs open simultaneously, and they were constantly flowing through and digesting all of this information to improve their sales workflow. So what you end up finding is that today's modern sales rep multitasks and wants to be able to do their sales work anywhere across the web, whether they're collecting data, they're working in the CRM, they're on their social networks, or they're doing research in Google. They don't always want to navigate back through 30 or even 50 layers of browser tabs to get to their CRM. So the change challenge that we were grappling with in our product organization is how can we deliver our AI-powered sales engine to millennial workers as they work across the web. These research-driven insights led to the development of our newest AI-powered sales solution, Playbooks. Playbooks runs on our AI engine called Neuralytics, our math, if you will, and leverages our proven big data set, HD data, which has the world's largest collection of relevant and at-scale sales information for B2B and B2C sales teams. Playbooks helps reps use artificial intelligence to develop a game plan for prospecting, for lead management, or for nurturing and developing opportunities. It uses AI to help them profile and target the right people in those opportunities or accounts, and it's designed to follow today's modern sales worker anywhere across the web as they go and do their research. One of the key ways that Playbooks uses artificial intelligence to help today's sales rep is helping them with recommendations and predictions on who they should sell to, who should they focus on. This allows them to target the right best companies and the right best people in those companies to sell to. And this helps focus their efforts on producing sales growth through the application of artificial intelligence. In addition, Playbooks helps them know how to engage with a prospect, whether that should be through email or telephone or social media. At each stage of the prospecting or lead management or opportunity nurturing process, it recommends to the rep the right best way to engage with the prospect. In addition, Playbooks uses artificial intelligence to recommend to the rep what to say and what to sell. And finally, Playbooks uses artificial intelligence to help the sales reps know when to engage, either when to send an email or when to make a phone call to increase the likelihood, the probability that they're going to have a successful contact with the prospect or the lead they're trying to reach out to. Basically, what Playbooks does is bring that consumer AI-powered experience we have in our personal lives into the workforce, into the workplace, and into the workday, so that throughout the workday, your sales teams are being directed through artificial intelligence and through an app that changes their day-to-day workflow to focus their efforts on the right best companies that are likely to buy their software. This combination of science and data we call the sales revolution. Playbooks and HD Forecast are the two solutions that we offer to the marketplace to help leverage AI and science to sell more. Playbooks is specifically designed to help your sales organizations increase their sales pipeline. And HD Forecast is the tool that your sales organizations can use to manage their pipeline, prioritize the deals that are most likely to close, and receive recommendations on what to do to get those deals to close. The combination of data and science helps your sales teams sell more. This acceleration of your sales processes using science can help your sales teams increase revenue by up to 30% using artificial intelligence. We hope today's webinar has been informative to help you understand how to make sense of all the buzzwords that you're hearing in the industry. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, predictive analytics, those are all just flavors of math. And math is important for a winning AI-powered solution for your sales organization, but they're sort of kind of table stakes. You also want to understand what is the data that's going to be used by those mathematic algorithms to make predictions and recommendations. You want large-scale, consumer-scale data that is relevant and applicable to who your sales teams are selling to. And then you need apps that run on top of your CRM that actually change what the reps do every single minute of every single day, leveraging the recommendations and the predictions from artificial intelligence to change their behavior. Thank you for taking the time with us today, and have a great day.
We'd like to thank Mike Plant for spending some time with us. Before you guys take off, we do have two great templates and ebooks to share with you. This is the 7 Sales Cadence templates. This can help you put a plan in place for your prospects after they come into your pipeline, so check that one out. The second one is this Sales Leader's Guide to Forecasting with Confidence. This will help you set up your forecasting a little bit better and give you some guidance that way. Other than that, we'd like to thank you guys for participating today, and we hope that you have a great day.
Behind every pass, every first down, and every 2-minute drill, and behind every game-winning touchdown is a play. Without a playbook, you have no direction, no plan, and no chance of success. But with the right play, you're in position to win. And it's the same in sales. Without the right plays and the right sequence, your sales teams will drop the ball. But with the right playbook built on the right insights, your sales teams are primed for success. That's exactly what Playbooks from InsideSales.com provides. It's a revolutionary sales platform that gives sales reps the plays they need to close deals. Who to call, when to call them, how to contact them, and how to manage multiple prospects moving through the sales funnel at once. Playbooks is based on decades of sales knowledge and the largest and most varied database of sales interactions in the world. 100 billion interactions and growing. So sales reps are always fed plays based on proven best practices and accurate data, which means they get the best plays at the best times. With all that power at their fingertips, even the rookies will sell like veterans. And the entire team will perform like all-stars. Playbooks will fuel more contacts, more conversations, and more closed deals. Because with Playbooks, you're always in a position to win.